I was sitting in my Ford F-150 on the morning of my 26th birthday, watching the sun come up through the windshield. That truck took me 3 years to save for working overtime at the logistics company, skipping vacations, saying no to everything that was not essential. It was mine. The only thing in my life that truly belonged to me. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. But it was not a birthday wish. The first 4 words made my blood run cold. Before I tell you what those words were, let me know where you are watching from today. Drop your location in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe if you want to hear real stories about family and betrayal. Now let me show you the message that changed everything. The text read, "We sold your car. Family comes first. Be grateful we let you live here." I stared at those words for what felt like an hour. I read them once, twice, 3 times. My brain could not process what my eyes were seeing. This had to be some kind of sick joke. Maybe Dad was testing me. Maybe he was being sarcastic in some twisted way I did not understand. I called him immediately. The phone rang 5 times and went to voicemail. I called again. Same thing. Then another text came through. "Your brother Dylan got into Stanford. You will cover his first semester. $55,200. Due this Friday." My hands started shaking. I was parked in the company lot, and I remember gripping the steering wheel of the work truck I had borrowed that morning because my own truck was supposedly at home in my parking spot where I had left it the night before. Let me give you some background on my family. My father, Gerald, is 54 years old. He manages a building supply store about 20 minutes from our house. He has worked there for almost 30 years, and he acts like that makes him some kind of authority on everything. My mother, Linda, is 52. She works part-time at the local library, mostly for something to do. She has always been quiet, always let Dad make the decisions. Then there is Dylan, my 18-year-old brother, the golden child, the star athlete, the kid who could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. From the time he was born, everything revolved around him. His football games, his basketball tournaments, his needs, his wants, his future. I was just the older brother who was expected to make way. I have been working since I was 16. I paid for my own clothes, my own phone, my own car insurance. When I graduated high school, there was no college fund waiting for me. Dad said I should learn the value of hard work. So I did. I got a job at the logistics company, started at the bottom, and worked my way up. I still lived at home to save money because I had a plan. In 2 years, I was going to buy my own place. That was the goal. But that truck, that Ford F-150, 2012 model dark blue with a silver trim. I loved that truck more than almost anything. It represented everything I had accomplished on my own. I paid cash for it. $18,500. I had the title in my name. I had the registration. Everything was legitimate and legal. So how did they sell it? I left work early that day, told my supervisor I had a family emergency. I borrowed the company pickup and drove home as fast as I could without breaking any laws. When I pulled into the driveway, my heart sank. The spot where I always parked my truck was empty. Nothing there but oil stains on the concrete. I walked into the house and there was Dad sitting on the couch watching some home renovation show like it was just another Tuesday afternoon. He did not even look up when I came in. "Dad, where is my truck?" He glanced at me with this expression I will never forget. It was almost amused, like I was a child asking a stupid question. "Sold it this morning, got $18,000 for it. Not bad, right?" I felt the room spin. "That was my truck. I paid for it with my own money." "How did you even sell it?" "You are not on the title." He smiled then. This cold, satisfied smile that made my stomach turn. "Actually, I am. I added my name to the title 2 years ago." "You never noticed because you were too busy working all the time. You really should pay more attention to your paperwork." 2 years. For 2 years, my father had secretly made himself a co-owner of my vehicle without telling me. He had forged my signature or somehow manipulated the documents at the DMV. I do not know exactly how he did it, but he did it. And then he sold my truck right out from under me on my birthday. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. This was not a stranger or some con artist. This was my own father. I stood there in the living room trying to find words when my mother appeared from the kitchen. She had this look on her face, a mix of discomfort and something else. Resignation, maybe? Like she knew exactly what had happened and had already made peace with it. "Your brother needs this," she said. "Stanford is his dream. You should be proud to help him achieve it." Before I could respond, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Dylan came walking down wearing a brand new Stanford sweatshirt. He had this grin on his face ear to ear like he had just won the lottery. "Thanks for the support, bro," he said. "I knew you would come through for the family." That was when I realized Dylan had known about this plan from the beginning. He was not surprised. He was not confused. He was celebrating. My little brother, whom I had protected and helped countless times over the years, had stood by while our parents stole from me. Dad pulled out a piece of paper from the coffee table and handed it to me. It was a breakdown of Dylan's first semester expenses. Tuition, room, and board meal plan books, supplies, spending money. The total at the bottom, $55,200. "Due in 5 days. You make good money," Dad said. "Better than I did at your age. You can afford this. Family comes first. That is how it has always been." The memories started flooding back then. All the times I had been pushed aside, forgotten, overlooked. When I turned 16, I was so excited for my birthday. Mom had promised we would have a family dinner, maybe even a small party. But that morning, Dylan had a football game 3 hours away. They all piled into the car and left. By the time they got home, it was past 10 at night. Mom said she was too tired to cook. Dad gave me $20 and told me to order pizza. Happy birthday to me. At my high school graduation, I was one of the top 10 students in my class. I had worked so hard for that honor. But my parents showed up late right as I was walking across the stage. They had been at Dylan's baseball practice because he had a big game coming up, and the coach needed all the parents there for a meeting. When I was 17, I saved up $800 to buy a laptop for school. I kept the money in an envelope in my desk drawer. One day, it was gone. When I asked Dad about it, he said he had borrowed it to buy new baseball equipment for Dylan. His old glove was falling apart and he needed new cleats. Dad said he would pay me back. He never did. Every single time I tried to stand up for myself, the answer was always the same. Dylan has potential. You are the older one. You should understand. You should sacrifice. You should put family first. I had been putting family first for 10 years. And this is what it got me. What none of them knew, what I had never told anyone, was that I had been financially supporting this family for years. When Dad's hours got cut at the store 3 years ago, I noticed my parents struggling to make the mortgage payment. So I started quietly transferring money into their joint account every month. $500 here, $700 there. I never said anything because I did not want to embarrass them. When Mom needed a minor surgery 2 years ago, and the insurance did not cover all of it, I paid the remaining balance. $1,800. I called the hospital directly and took care of it. She never knew. When my Aunt Patricia, Dad's younger sister, came to us crying because her car broke down and she could not afford to fix it, I lent her $5,000. She thought the money came from Dad. That is what he told her. He took credit for my generosity. Over 4 years, I had given this family over $38,000. And not once did anyone say thank you. Not once did anyone acknowledge where the money was coming from. They just assumed they were lucky that things were working out somehow. I looked at my father holding that invoice for $55,000, and I felt something shift inside me. The part of me that had always hoped they would change, that they would eventually see me and appreciate me, that part finally died. I am not paying for Dylan's college, I said. I'm not giving $55,000 to someone who has never said thank you to me for anything in his entire life. Dad's face turned red. I watched the vein in his forehead start to pulse. After everything we have done for you, we fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head for 26 years. This is how you repay your family. You sold my property without my permission, I said. That is not family. That is theft. Dad stood up from the couch. He was shaking with anger, his fists clenched at his sides. Then pack your shit and get out of my house. Tonight. You are dead to me. I looked at my mother, waiting for her to say something, to defend me, to tell Dad he was going too far. She just stared at the floor. Dylan laughed. I told you he was selfish, Dad. I told you he would never help. I went upstairs to my room, the room I had slept in for 26 years. It looked so small now, so insignificant. All those years of memories, and what did they add up to? A family that saw me as nothing more than a source of money. I pulled out my phone and called Carlotta. She was my girlfriend of 3 years, and she was the only person in my life who truly knew me. She answered on the second ring. What is wrong? She asked. She always knew when something was wrong just from the sound of my breathing. I told her everything. The truck, the text messages, the confrontation, the ultimatum. She listened without interrupting, and when I finished, she said 7 words that changed my life. Come to my place. We knew this would happen. She was right. We had talked about this possibility before. Carlotta had seen how my family treated me. She had watched me give and give and give while they took and took and took. She had been saving money too, preparing for the day when I would finally have enough. I packed 2 suitcases with everything that was truly mine. Clothes, a few books, my documents, some photographs from before Dylan was born when things were different, when my parents still looked at me like I mattered. But before I walked out that door, I had one more thing to do. I sat down at my old desk and assembled a package. It took me about an hour to gather everything. Printouts of every bank transfer I had made to my parents over the past 4 years. Dates, amounts, account numbers. $38,000 in total, all documented. A copy of the mortgage statement showing that I was listed as a co-signer, something Dad had asked me to do 2 years ago when the bank was threatening to raise their interest rate. If I removed my name, the bank would require a complete reevaluation of their finances. Text messages from Aunt Patricia thanking me for the loan messages she had meant for Dad, but accidentally sent to me, which I had never corrected. She had promised to repay the $5,000 by the end of this month. That money was supposed to go toward fixing Uncle Robert's truck. I put everything in a large envelope and wrote a note on a plain piece of paper. You wanted me dead to you. Consider it done. From now on, your bills are your own. Good luck. I placed the envelope on the kitchen table, turned off the lights, and walked out the front door. Carlotta was waiting for me at her apartment, a small 1-bedroom place about 30 minutes from my parents' house. She had cleared out half her closet for my clothes and set up a little desk area in the corner of the living room for me. There was dinner on the table. Nothing fancy, just pasta with marinara sauce and some garlic bread. But it was warm, and it was made with love, and that was more than I had received from my own family in years. Carlotta worked as a nurse at the regional hospital. She pulled long shifts, sometimes 12 hours or more, but she never complained. She was practical and kind and strong. Everything my family was not. I never understood why you kept giving them money, she said that night as we ate. They never appreciated you. They never even noticed. I kept hoping they would change, I admitted. I thought if I just gave enough, sacrificed enough, they would finally see me. I was wrong. We talked late into the night, and when I finally went to sleep in her bed with her arms around me, I slept better than I had in years. The weight I had been carrying for so long was finally gone. The next morning started at 7 a.m., with my phone exploding. First a text from Mom. What does this envelope? Call me immediately. Then a phone call from Aunt Patricia. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. You lent me that money I thought it was from your father. He told me it was from his savings. He told everyone he was the one helping the family. How could he lie like that? 20 minutes later, Uncle Robert called. He was not crying, he was furious. Patricia just told me everything. Your father has been lying to all of us for years. He said he was the one making sacrifices, the one holding everything together. But it was you. It was always you. More texts came in. From cousins. From my grandmother. The news was spreading through the family like wildfire. Everyone was learning the truth about Gerald, the man who had taken credit for his son's generosity while treating that same son like garbage. Then a text from Dad. We need to talk. Come home. I did not respond. I just stared at the screen, watching the messages pile up. Carlotta sat beside me, holding my hand. You do not owe them anything, she said. Let them figure this out on their own. The final notification came from Mrs. Thompson, our neighbor of 15 years. She was a sweet old woman who had always been kind to me. Your father is outside on the porch, she wrote. He is asking everyone who walks by if they have seen you. He looks terrible, desperate. What on earth happened over there? I pieced together the full picture over the next few hours through various phone calls and messages. Dad had been using the money I sent plus the proceeds from selling my truck for his own expenses. Golf trips, new tools, dinners out with his buddies. He had not been making the full mortgage payments for months. The bank had already sent warning letters, which he had hidden from Mom. When I left and the automatic transfer stopped, the bank called the next morning demanding an explanation. Mom answered the phone and learned the truth. Then she found my envelope. Aunt Patricia discovered that the man she had been thanking for saving her family was actually a fraud. She told Uncle Robert. Uncle Robert told their kids. Within hours, everyone in the extended family knew that Gerald had been taking credit for his oldest son's sacrifices while simultaneously stealing from him and kicking him out of the house. The family that had treated me like I was invisible was now seeing me clearly for the first time, and they were seeing my father for who he truly was. The first few weeks were hard. I will not pretend they were not. Even though I knew leaving was the right choice, there is still pain in walking away from your family. I would wake up in the middle of the night and reach for my phone, some small part of me still hoping to see a message that said, I am sorry. That never came. Not from Dad, not from Mom. Carlotta was patient with me through all of it. She did not push me to talk when I needed silence. She did not judge me when I cried over people who did not deserve my tears. She just held me and reminded me that I was worthy of love. Real love. Not the conditional transactional thing my parents had offered. Work became my sanctuary. I threw myself into a new project at the logistics company, and my boss noticed. He gave me a raise and put me in charge of a small team. For the first time, I was being recognized for my contributions instead of having them stolen. 2 weeks after I left, Aunt Patricia called again. This time she was calm. I owe you an apology, she said. Not just for the money, but for believing your father all these years. I should have seen the truth. You were always the kind one, the generous one. I am so sorry I did not recognize it sooner. She sent me the $5,000 she had borrowed, plus an extra $500 as a thank you. I told her the extra was not necessary, but she insisted. Uncle Robert reached out next. He did not apologize with words. That was not his style. Instead, he sent me a message that said, You are a good man. Better than your father ever was. If you ever need anything, call me. I mean it. Even Dylan sent something. A short text, just 2 sentences. I did not know the full story. Maybe I was wrong about you. It was not an apology. He did not take responsibility for his part in what happened, but coming from Dylan, it was more than I ever expected. Mom and Dad remained silent. Every few days there would be a text from one of them asking me to come home and talk. But there was never any acknowledgement of what they had done. Never any admission of wrongdoing. Just demands for my presence as if I still owed them something. 3 months after that terrible birthday, Carlotta and I moved into our own place. A small 1-bedroom apartment closer to both of our jobs. It was not much, but it was ours. We painted the walls together, bought furniture from secondhand stores, made it into a home. I bought a new car, a Honda Civic 2020 model silver with black interior. I paid cash, just like I did with the truck. But this time, I triple-checked every piece of paperwork. My name was the only name on that title. No one would ever be able to take it from me. Carlotta and I started talking about the future. Maybe buying a house in 2 years. Maybe getting married in 3. Simple plans, realistic goals. The kind of life I had always wanted but never thought I could have while I was still trapped in that house. 6 months after I left, I agreed to meet Dad at a coffee shop. I do not know why I said yes. Maybe I needed closure. Maybe I wanted to see if he had changed at all. He looked older than I remembered. Tired. The confidence that had always defined him was gone. He sat across from me at a small table by the window, stirring his coffee without drinking it. "I made mistakes," he said finally. "I should have asked you for help instead of demanding it. I should have thanked you for everything you did for this family." He paused, and I waited. I waited for the words I had needed to hear my entire life. But they did not come. He did not apologize for selling my truck. He did not acknowledge that he had forged documents or lied to the extended family. He just sat there looking at me like I was supposed to forgive him simply because he had shown up. "I forgive you, Dad," I said. And I meant it. Holding on to anger would only poison my own life. But I will never trust you again, and I will never live under your roof again. That chapter is closed. He nodded slowly. His eyes were red like he might cry, but the tears never came. We finished our coffee in silence, and then we left. No hug, no promises to stay in touch. Just 2 people who shared blood, but nothing else. That was 8 months ago. My life now is quiet. Peaceful. I go to work, come home to Carlotta, cook dinner together, watch movies on the weekends. Simple things that feel extraordinary after everything I went through. My birthday is coming up again next month. Carlotta asked me what I want. I thought about it for a long time before answering. Just a quiet dinner, I told her. The 2 of us. No drama, no demands, just peace. She smiled and kissed my forehead. "Done," she said. And for the first time in 26 years, I know I will actually get what I asked for. Here is what I learned from all of this. Family is not about blood. It is about respect, appreciation, and genuine love. The people who truly care about you will never see your sacrifices as obligations. They will never take credit for your generosity. They will never make you feel like you are invisible. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Leaving does not mean you have given up on love. It means you have finally decided to love yourself. If you are watching this and you recognize your own story and mine, I want you to know something. You are not selfish for wanting to be seen. You are not ungrateful for setting boundaries. You deserve people who appreciate you. And sometimes you have to lose a family to find one. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to walk away from family members who took advantage of your kindness? How did you find the strength to put yourself first? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who is going through the same thing. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You never know whose life you might change. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for being part of this community. I wish you peace, I wish you strength, and I wish you the courage to choose yourself when the people around you refuse to. Take care of yourselves. You are worth it.